And apparently I'm live. If you can hear this, and if you can't, well, yourselves. Oh, you can hear me? Yeah, you're the first here. Now, I want you to tell me, guys, along the way, if I'm dropping out, dropping in, dropping up, dropping down, dropping dead. Got that? Type keck if you understand. Don't say bitch, bitch. Don't tell me that, bitch. I'll bitch slap you. Sounds good? Loud and clear? All right, maybe we've fixed this up. I had to go and ask my friend Gary Awesome what to do, and he set me straight because he's a good lad. Keck, that's it. How are you, Gennady? Tippy top kecks, keck, good one. Yo, all right, looks like we might have this sorted out. Looks like I might know what I'm doing. But, you know, shit happens, shit can happen. So this is a test because next weekend I'll be doing a live stream for patrons who pay $5 to hear me speak, which is pretty good. And they've come up with some really, really good questions. So I'm looking forward to that. So this is going to be a test. Make sure it's all working. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I'll tell you what I might do, though. I might read something that a subscriber sent my way who is in the Defence Forces in Australia, and he's talking about the, shall we say, cult of diversity that's running through the Australian Defence Forces. Do you think you'd like to hear that? Do you think you'd like to hear a letter? What do you say? Was there a problem with your last stream? Yes, there was a big problem. There was lots of dropouts and things. Looks like we fixed it. It was 12 minutes long, and it's just me saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And so I deleted it. So you can't watch it, and there's nothing to see anyway. It was done. Yeah, read it out. Sounds good. Yeah, go for it. Let's do it then. So I'm going to try and attempt to share the screen here. See if we can do that. Can we do that? Screen share over here. Now, can you guys see that? Fuck, wait a minute. Oh, that's terrible. E-names. Where's the sex tape? Well, that'll come later, but you know what they're like on YouTube. They tend not to like that kind of stuff. I'm dropping out a bit. Is that right? Yep, see it, but it's too small. All right, I will do that. Anyway, if you can't see it, I will read it anyway. So I had to redact some of the text because he didn't want certain information divulged. So as he says, "G'day, dude. I wanted to share something with you, not for recognition or shout out. I just need to say some things anonymously, and I honestly don't know anyone in real life I can share this with. I'm in the Defence Force, and I received an email this morning from my CO with a white ribbon survey. You all know what white ribbon is, I'm guessing. White ribbon, those scumbags that demonize all men for having penises, with a white ribbon survey for me to take and everyone else at the squadron. It's part of getting white ribbon certification. So, I mean, right there, you need white ribbon certification in the Australian Defence Forces. I can only guess that means scoring collectively high enough on their BuzzFeed-style survey I just completed. Anyway, this survey was a fucking joke, and I really hope the result was anonymous because having watched enough content from yourself and other creators, I've been sufficiently red-pilled enough to actually begin speaking my mind." See, that's good because often I think I'm just yelling into the wilderness and it doesn't have any effect. So while a lot of the survey was simple, strongly agree to strongly disagree type responses to questions specifically about women, I made full use of the comment and expansion text boxes to air my thoughts. Nothing too inflammatory, just things like when asked if my knowledge of the domestic violence against women problem in Australia had changed in the last 3 years. I answered yes, and elaborated after reading the statistics that I was amazed to learn that between 30 and 50% of domestic violence is committed against men. Other things I maybe should have said, all true, but when asked about my attitudes toward women in the workplace, I said there is an honest mistrust now of girls. People are self-policing their own language and avoiding even professional criticism for fear of a formal complaint against us for mansplaining. That affirmative action has looking at girls with mistrust, not knowing whether she's there for merit or gender. My best friend is an something, and she had to fight bloody hard to be recognised as competent. She ducks her course, and deservedly so, but is seen with the same suspicion that affirmative action has created. To throw suspicion at the end, I tick the other box under male and female for gender. Well, you know, these days you could probably change gender halfway through doing the survey. And spoke about return of service obligations for my example of how men are being discriminated against now. Answering how has my workplace changed over the last 3 years. You can look that up yourself if you like on Defence Force Recruiting's website. Last I checked, the initial minimum period of service was 10 years for men and 2 for women. Well, that's fair. Anyway, yeah, so the last bit is just about keeping his personals personal. So you can't say cunt in the office. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to refrain from those. But if your office is a tool shed or a mechanic's workshop, I think that should be, you know, standard parlance. Maybe I'll stop that screen sharing. That would fucking help, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's working. Yeah, thanks, Gaz. I just told them all it was you that set me straight because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Yeah. Yeah, so what do you think about that? The Defence Forces are now a playground for the diversity warriors, but we knew this already. I don't know if you guys, if you're Australian, if you read Miranda Devine, she's been doing a lot of articles on this, that basically the head honcho of all this stuff is one what's her name? Elizabeth Broderick, I think. And she's in charge of a lot of this stuff. She's basically going through the Defence Force, the police force, and telling them all, the feds as well, telling them all that they're sexist and they've got a culture of misogyny and it all needs to change. All that means is, you know, fast access for women up the chain of command to positions of power that they didn't earn. That's what it's all about. Because as we know, feminism these days is about getting jobs. Well, feminism is middle to upper class women trying to secure themselves middle to upper class jobs in politics, in boardrooms, in, you know, what's the other one? What's the other big one? Fucking hell, I forgot. Boardrooms. Oh yeah, STEM fields. That's the one. More women in STEM. Yeah, we need that like we need a fucking hole in the head. I thought women went for the roles they wanted. Yeah, well, you'd think that's the case, wouldn't you? But for some reason, that's the amazing thing about feminism. They've removed agency from women. Apparently, women are strong and independent, and they don't need no man. But apparently, they can't make choices. Apparently, they're so pathetic that they're swayed by the influences of the patriarchy that stops them from making their own choices. So when a woman takes a job, she didn't choose it, apparently. Infantilizes women. Absolutely does. So maybe what I'll do is, that's not what I want. Maybe we'll look at this Miranda Devine article where she talks about what's going on with the feminization of the army. So let's have a look at that. get rid of that. What do you guys? Can you see that article? I think you should be able to see it now. Miranda Devine article. Oh, there it goes. Yep. Thanks, Alexander. Yes. So the article is, by promoting diversity over fighting ability, the army is alienating its warriors. Oh, and there he is. So if you're watching this and you're not from Australia, the clown on the screen that you should be seeing about now is one David Morrison. The diversity revolution that Lieutenant General David Morrison inflicted on the Australian Army now threatens to diminish our war-fighting capability. Now, what's interesting about this guy is he spent his entire life, his entire career in the Army, and he hasn't got one combat medal, citation, anything, nothing. This guy dressed up in high heels recently as well for some, I'm for women, against violence against women or some fucking bullshit. And he's also the same guy that said that the word guys should be banned because it's sexist. So let's see what it's got here. 5 years after former Army Chief and former Sex Discrimination Commissioner Liz Broderick, she's the piece of shit that's responsible for all this, launched a social engineering experiment aimed at stamping out the male Anglo-Saxon warrior culture, the troops are unimpressed. The top brass might have drunk the feminist Kool-Aid of pathway to change. That's what they call this shit. And it's mutant offshoots, but most of the people they command are skeptical about gender fluidity, appeasement of radical Islam, and promotion by chromosome as payback for 116 years of military patriarchy. People just think it's crap, said one young officer. They think it's crap. I think they know it's crap. To overcome such common sense thinking, diversity experts have designed... What the fuck is that? Don't you love when an ad just fucking jumps in there like that? To overcome such common sense thinking, diversity experts have designed a $30,000 program effectively to brainwash young leaders in the army to become champions of change and stamp out the white Anglo-Saxon male culture they are no longer has a place in the military. In October, a handpicked group was taken to Sydney and Canberra for the Junior Leaders Shaping Future Army and subjected to 5 days of diversity indoctrination. Sounds wonderful. On day one was a 3-hour session from an imam explaining his Islamic conversion testimony and proselytizing the benefits of Islam, according to one participant who took detailed notes. The lecture went fucking hell. See, this is what you don't hear when I record myself, because I delete myself fucking up, but now you're going to hear the whole lot. The lecture went down so badly that a planned mosque visit on the schedule the next day was cancelled without explanation. Yes, diversity. Diversity expert Professor Robert Wood introduced the latest politically correct inanity, unconscious bias, here we go, and criticised the predominance of Anglo-Saxon males and the banter culture of the army. The next day, Qantas diversity and inclusion manager Zach Hammer spruiked the airline's same-sex marriage campaign and LGBTI network for staff, because Islam and banter culture and same-sex and LGBTI issues are really important for people who have to go out and shoot other people in the head, isn't it? I mean, that's what you need to be focused on. Gender diversity no longer refers to male and female because there are people within our community now who don't identify with these. Well, good luck to them, but we don't have to fucking pay them any attention. In one exercise, they were asked how they would inclusively manage a diversity scenario in which a digger under their command converts to Islam, requiring him to pray 5 times a day, eat halal food, and fast at Ramadan. Well, what you would say to that guy is, being a Muslim doesn't make you special. You don't get any special treatment. Go fuck yourself. And if you don't like that, here's 2 in the back of the fucking head. I felt like I was sitting in a North Korean indoctrination camp, recalls one insider. Sweet. It was an extreme politically correct environment for people who are dead set into war fighting, said another participant. A psychologist classified the students as champions or skeptics. However, in the army, champ is an insult. It's the worst thing you can call someone. It means you're a dickhead. The ADF's diversity orthodoxy decries a military comprising mainly males of Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Australian background, Christians and third generation plus Australian. Such a demographic profile is no longer desirable or sustainable, says one of the ludicrous diversity reports which now clog the minds and in trays of generals. It's only no longer desirable to the Marxist scumbags who say it is. It's actually worked fine up till now. The typical defence hero is a hero in uniform from an Anglo-Australian background who performs acts of bravery in battle and models the values of courage and sacrifice. This type of hero is unnecessarily exclusive and works against the desire for defence to represent the community it serves, writes education academic Elizabeth Thompson. But they are the ones who have done it. I mean, can you show me the record books and the history books and the video of all those women getting up and going over the trenches? Where are they? Oh, they don't exist, do they? Casual conversation in defence is dominated by the kind of talk characteristic of the Aussie bloke. Oh, because, you know, that's awful. Humour, banter, practical jokes and nicknaming are language practices which marginalise and exclude people. And you know what? That kind of talk is best suited to the army because it weeds out fucking weaklings, gets rid of them. If all this sounds frighteningly Orwellian, you ain't seen nothing yet. Am I going too fast for you fucking slow coaches over there? Can you keep up? Huh? Okay. I'll take that as a yes. Still with me? Yeah. All right. Where was I? No, you fucking interrupted me, you dicks. Defence Force recruiting is where crackpot theory first meets reality, and Army Chief Lieutenant General Angus Campbell is frustrated with the slow progress to achieve his goal of doubling the proportion of women from 12 to 25%. Well, that's just a random number plucked out of nowhere that means nothing. What has it got to do with the competence of the armed services? Nothing, because it never does. In a speech to recruitment officers late August, he criticised an unnamed dissident who had informed Defence Force Chief Mark Binskin, I'm going to call him Foreskin from now on, gender advisor Julie Mackay, that he would resist diversity targets because he needed to protect the army from Canberra. Nice one. Looks like Mr. Foreskin knows what he's doing. You need to understand that I will have no humour if my directions are ignored, Campbell told the recruiters. The number one priority I have with respect to recruitment is increasing our diversity. Oh, for fuck's sake. Since Campbell's rocket, Defence Force recruiting has pulled out all stops to entice women into the army. One whistleblower says they run female-only information sessions, female-only fitness assessments, and I bet there's a female-only fitness requirements. Female-only job assessment days have a dedicated female specialist recruitment team and free fitness training. Female recruits can ask to be posted with friends and to a location of their choice and are offered reduced periods of service, 1 year, while men have to serve at least 4. That's equality for you these days. Divide people into groups and treat them differently. Defence Force recruiting has stopped males joining particular jobs which are open only to females. He says infantry, artillery, key jobs. Where does it stop? It stops when we have a military that's unable to function because it's full of fucking pathetic idiots. There is a new program at Kapuka for female recruits. Kapuka, for you guys who don't know, is just outside of Wagga Wagga. For female recruits, too out of shape to pass basic fitness requirements of 8 push-ups, 45 sit-ups, and 7.5 on the beep test. The Army preconditioning program for unfit women offers 7 weeks of intense physical training. Yet by the end, almost half still flunk the entry test. Oh, great. Our best and brightest people, our best and brightest. Women comprise 12% of the Army, yet Broderick's goal is 35% of senior positions to be filled. Yeah, senior positions, because that she knows very well that they can't run around in the field. So females have a 3 times better chance of promotion. Army hasn't met recruitment goals for 10 years, and the exodus of men disillusioned about their promotion prospects won't help. At a time when our army's been called on to step up the war against the Islamic State, the deleterious effect of social engineering is clear. As one former soldier puts it, they're messing with our warfighting DNA. Well, that's putting it politely. I would say that's fucking up our warfighting forces. But they won't stop. And this is happening at a perfect time, isn't it? The confluence of Islam, the weakening, the demonization of male masculinity. It's all a perfect cocktail for Western society just to roll over and say, yeah, fuck me in the ass. Fuck me in the ass. Women, yeah. So what does the peanut gallery over there think? Huh? Got any questions about this one? Comments? How long can you attack the majority demographic of any group before the whole group collapses? Well, I think we're going to find out, aren't we? Yeah, I think that's not a bad point there. Your military can afford to court weakness when it gets to hide under the intimidation skirt of countries like the United States. That's probably right, because we know if Australia ever got into any major conflagration, we would be on the phone to the orange-haired man, Quick Smart. No, it's not Bill Burr and the Monday Morning Punt podcast. It's Independent Man and the Sunday Afternoon podcast. Here it is in Australia. Fucking lovely day too. I'm about to go outside and go for a walk because it's absolutely fantastic. But I think we can call this little test here a success. Has anyone had any dropouts during this? Anyone strange, funny? Hey, Andrew, how you doing? Anyone had dropouts or hollow sounds, weird sounds like I'm speaking in a 10? Fuck off, cunt, I'm in Melbourne, it's shit. You're not going, yeah, but you live in Melbourne, mate. That's why. Melbourne's shit. And you got to live with Daniel Andrews as your state premier. I mean, how do you live with that? I mean, that wouldn't matter what the weather was. Knowing that you lived in a state presided over by Dan Andrews would make. I'd take myself out if I were you. Sounds good to me, Andrew. In Adelaide, you don't have electricity in Adelaide, do you, Andrew? Or only when the wind turbines are blowing. No? Isn't that right? Lovely weather. Yeah, but have you got wind? Because it's the wind that keeps your internet going. All good in Newcastle? Oh, fuck, there's some real inbreds in Newcastle. If you've ever been to a Newcastle home game and just have a look at the crowd, I mean, there's about 5 teeth between them, all the people on the hill. We got hamsters up here, yeah. Wish I had a few hamsters. Loud and clear. We have power when people don't trip over the extension cords. Yeah, that's why I don't have any. Sounds good in South Georgia. Georgia. Falcon, did you get out to watch the Masters out there? You go out to Augusta and watch the Masters, Falcon? Beautiful course. Love it. We have potatoes here in Birmingham. Yeah, I bet you do. Is that why the Irish had a famine? Because all you Birmingham fags stole them? Birmingham. Let me try and do a Birmingham accent. I'm from Birmingham. Oh, that was terrible. I'm not doing that again. Don't worry. Minnesota, steel country. You know, I heard a story the other day in, was it Minnesota? I think it was the Northwest anyway. in the Northwest in 1979, 1979, you could work in a steel mill in 1979 in the northeast of the United States and get paid $14 an hour, union wage, $14 an hour, 1979. And I know that because a guy by the name of Jim Chanos, who's now a billionaire, he earned more money in one summer getting paid $14 an hour. Yeah, it might have been Pittsburgh. And $14 an hour in a steel mill, working double shifts during summer. He earned more money doing that than he did on his first year on Wall Street, where he got paid $14,000 in 1980. And that just goes to show you that what happened in the 1980s, Wall Street was not a lucrative place to work. But them's are the breaks. What you had over the period from the late 70s or early 80s till now is that most of the gains in real wealth went to capital instead of labor. Between 1930 and the 1980s, it was mostly went to labor. And no doubt a lot of people are a bit upset about that. I don't watch golf. How can you not watch golf, mate? Golf is a bit gay. What are you homophobic, mate? I don't have homophobes on my fucking live streams. I'm telling you. I'm really worried that Ireland is drinking the regret. Oh, well, fuck. Worried? It's over. Ireland's over. It's just a matter of when do you leave. That's it. When do you leave? Mavi, I moved from Sydney to Melbourne for work. It shocked to see such a feminist SJW state. Yeah, I wonder what they're like. I've got a mate down in Melbourne. I might call him and see if he's become indoctrinated. Does Clementine Ford still have a job? Well, I think she did anyway because she was not a full-time Fairfax staff. She's just one of those people who has a regular column or something. So, she gets probably gets paid by the article. But we'll see what happens with the takeover offer and see who gets canned. But I think that's a classic case there of Fairfax pandered to a sort of inner city elite cadre of people, which is, for some reason, they think that this is how the country thinks, but they're wrong. It's just a small, narrow group of idiots, virtue signaling, morally superior idiots. And that's not actually a big enough base to build a decent journalistic outfit in. So, yeah, fuck you, Fairfax. Driver says, heard they're getting rid of the funding for toxic safe schools in Australia. Only, at the federal level, they're saying that they will not renew the funding. The Victorian government seems quite determined to go through with it. New South Wales has already dumped it. But what you need to be careful of is what replaces it. And safe schools might have gone, but respectful relationships, all that kind of shit is still there. So there's still these programs of sort of alienating males and calling, young men are inherently toxic. Do you vote for Pauline Hanson? No, I don't vote for Pauline Hanson, and I never will. I would vote for Bernardi before I voted for her. But I would vote for, do you like hentai? Not really. I'd vote for Bernardi before I vote for Hanson, but I'd vote for the Liberal Democrats before any of those. The West is going to collapse. Well, it has before. What are your thoughts on Mark Latham going back into politics? I think it would be good. I think that Latham probably his strategy would be to build up a following around his new platform, get some support that way, and then take a run at either state or federal politics. I think he's, of course, as soon as Mark Latham starts to criticise his old party or any part of the left, he's now somehow Mark Latham is considered part of the far right, which is absolutely ridiculous. That's a plane going over, by the way. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous that he be associated with the far right. I mean, he's very center of the road, but he's center of the road 20 years ago, so that makes him right of center automatically. Do you reckon you'll make a video regarding the passing of Canadian Bill C-16? Well, tomorrow it's fucking today. My lazy Sunday upload might not come out till tomorrow morning Australian time, but it will be cut-ups of the testimony of Jordan Peterson at the hearings on Bill C-16, and I am just so impressed with the way that guy speaks and puts his views across, with the exception of his views on religion and things like that. I think he was totally unimpressive in his talk with Sam Harris, not convincing at all. But when it comes to the transgender issues, free speech, and Bill C-16, I think he's spot on. He actually got a shout out today on the Outsiders program on Sky here in Australia. Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, someone's just written there, Mark Latham was in the Labor Party, far from right. But the thing is, Paul Keating would be seen, I submit to you people that the Paul Keating of the 80s and 90s sits to the right of Malcolm Turnbull. That Malcolm Turnbull is more a centrist than a Paul Keating. Yeah, that's exactly right, Andrew. The Australian Labor Party basically did what Thatcher and Reagan were doing on the other side of the world in the 80s, deregulating, bringing down barriers, trade barriers, floating the dollar, trying to make the wage system more flexible, all that kind of stuff, the same kind of stuff that the Reagan and Thatcher governments were doing. But they also put in social programs like Medicare, like superannuation. Yeah, Jordan Peterson will go down in history as someone who actually stood up for free speech. But I think this is the problem, that we all just take free speech and freedom for granted. Is Douglas Murray made the point recently that when it comes down to it, when you look back through history, there's not many people who actually stand up for free speech. Most people go along, you know, like the sheep that they are, with the prevailing winds. As long as they're left alone in their lounge rooms and their lives aren't affected too much, they'll generally go along to get along. But it's people like Peterson and others that will stand up for free speech, and you've got to back these people all the way. I'm glad he's got such popular support. I think fuck Gillian Triggs has been let go. Well, she hasn't really been let go. It's just that her term is running out. Malcolm Turnbull, of course, the pansy that he is, should have sacked her ages ago. I don't know how many times someone can go before the Senate commission hearings and lie and get away with it. Yeah, well, I agree that David Leyonhjelm he's not our only hope, but I think he's a big hope. All right. Golf sucks. Well, you just don't know what you're talking about, but it's all right. I mean, your handle really says it all. Inane observations. Golf sucks. I mean, there we go. Thoughts on Bill Shorten wanting to tax the rich at 50? Bill Shorten is the quintessential machine man. He stands for nothing. If you think that Malcolm Turnbull stands for nothing, Bill Shorten stands for absolutely nothing. He is a rank opportunist. He's a virtue signaling moron, and he represents the Labor Party of the 1950s. Big government. Do you play golf? Rarely. I used to play as a kid. I like to watch. 100 watches now. Time for Independent Man to invite some guests on. There's no guests coming on here. There's no one worthy of coming on my live streams. No one. No, this was, I will have people on in future, but this was just a test today. It's already run a little bit long. Well, yeah, I used to play off 8 when I was a kid. I question if Lionhelm and the LDP are too extreme. I think they're too extreme on guns. Well, not too extreme on guns. I think the problem is that guns are a fringe issue, and it's not something that the wider public can get behind. I think that's one of their weaknesses. Ever consider going on Mark Latham's Outsiders? I think if I lived in Sydney, I probably would get a start on that. But since I don't, it's probably unlikely. But stay tuned. Motorcycle racing, fucking gayest sport ever. Motorcycle racing, car racing, kill yourself. Kill yourself now. Take an ice pick, stab yourself in the neck, bleed out on the ground, film it, send it to me, and I'll upload it, and I'll do a reaction video where I laugh at you dying slowly. That's what I think of your fucking racing. Your face is the gayest sport ever. I don't even know what that means. I guess we found out Independent Man can't drive. Is that your comeback? Really? Fuck, that's weak. Do you think single tour mandatory military service post-legal adulthood? I don't know. It would straighten out a few softies. You upset car people. Good. Faggots. Car people. Boring. I never got cars. I mean, when my mates were 17, got their P plates, and they got cars, and they got V8s, and they got, were tinkering with their mufflers and their engines, and I was just like, what? I don't understand. I don't care. NASCAR is for fucking morons. You don't like sports of any kind. Well, you know what, Pixel? I would say that frees you up to do lots of other things, because a lot of people just waste their Saturdays and Sundays in front of the TV watching, 4 different AFL games or whatever. So I wouldn't feel bad about that. I am. Your views on MGTOW? Well, I'm quite sympathetic to certain aspects of MGTOW. I've talked a little bit about it before, but I think the spectrum of MGTOW views is quite diverse. But on one end, which I would call the toxic end, you have a group of guys who are essentially the mirror image of radical feminists, which is that instead of everything being the fault of the patriarchy, everything is the fault of women and hypergamy and all the rest of it. And I think that that's just a pointless exercise. But I think what men need to do is assert themselves a bit more and put themselves first, put boundaries erect boundaries around their lives to say what they will and will not accept from women, and do not deviate for it. Do not get sucked in by the pussy. That's the short and skinny of it. And hold women accountable. Stop letting them get away with shit because they cry or because they put on a face. Let me get rid of this fucking thing here. You got to look out for number one. You do. There's nothing wrong with wanting to share your life with someone, but you've got to protect yourself. I think there's a bit of toxicity here when older men, my age and older, talk to young guys and say, stay away from women. I don't believe that. I think if you're a young guy, it's good experience to go out. You will not learn how to erect boundaries in a relationship until you get in one. Okay? And remember, when you're young, we're not talking about marriage here. We're just talking about dating. We're just talking about going out with someone. Now, you should get amongst that and feel it out and see where you're at with that. We're not talking about getting married. We're not talking about kids. We're just talking about dating. And if you're a young guy, go out and knock yourself out. Experience it. But I think marriage is the cost-benefit analysis there doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense for men these days. All right. Well, I'm going to leave it there. There's no such thing as dating anymore. Well, I wouldn't know. I haven't been on a date for I don't know. I've been back in Australia for 1 year and 3 months, and I haven't been on a date because I just I don't like the look of Australian women. They're pretty fucking awful to me. I've been in Asia too long. All right. So I'm heading out. Remember, if you want to be part of the stream next weekend, you have to be a patron. But I think I might do one of these just for everyone once a month. And maybe I'll try and get some questions for that instead of it just being a free-for-all shit fight. But anyway, thanks for coming. Let me know. This will go up sometime today, probably. Let me know in the you missed it. Well, you'll be able to listen back later. It'll go up sometime today. But yeah, let me know in the comments just if you had any problems with hearing it, any delays, any problems like that, because I just want to know how good or bad my internet is. So I will see you all later, and go and have a round of golf. You fags that don't like golf, and get out of your cars, your boring cars and your stupid motorbikes. Go and have a game of golf. See ya.